right, y'all. We in there.
Yo.
Welcome to the Breaking the Narrative podcast. And, well, BTN for short. I'm Tony.
I'm Teddy.
Yes, and we're here to bring you the news. It's like, no, I'm just playing.
Good.
Yeah, I'm off my anchor man. But this one is going to be somewhat of a deeper, conversation. I remember, beforehand, we had a conversation. We were talking about death in general and,
Right.
somewhat of a lot of the things that we've gone through individually. And we're pretty much going to touch on that. Like, what did we do to cope? Like, how did it affect us mentally? And pretty much just everything of that nature. And since he gave me somewhat of the green light to start it off, I mean,
Yes, sir.
it didn't even matter who started it off anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I look at it as no one is ever prepared for a death of somebody else.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And when it initially happens, you can't really believe it, really. Especially if it's somebody that you're close to.
Right.
Whether it be a parent, friend, or just a close relative. Or some people are more empathetic. They're just people in general.
Right. Just knowing that somebody else has lost somebody.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people did the same thing. For celebrities and shit like that, just because they know them so well. Because I remember when Kobe died.
Man.
That honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. That hit hard.
Very hard.
It hit hard.
I still can't believe it. It still doesn't even feel real.
It really don't. But it's something you gotta deal with. It's
Right.
You start off with the denial. It's like, nah, bro. They gonna find him. He got out. Stop playing. Then they had a funeral. Then you just like, all right, this might be real.
Right.
And even midway, you still you got the holding on the hope that he around. He around. He on a private island or something.
Yeah, that's when the theories come in. Oh, you gonna fake this death, and you want that stuff to be true, but that's we'll get into that. That's a coping mechanism, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely is, bro. And I know when Kobe first died, bro, I saw it on my phone, I had the ESPN app, show. It was like Kobe Bryant has died in helicopter crash. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was nah. I was like, no, this ain't happen. Because that's actually not even the first. I didn't find out about it through ESPN though.
Right.
I actually had to. I looked on Facebook at first. It was just random. Post people R.I.P. Kobe and all that. I was like, wait a minute. Nah, ain't no way going ESPN is on. It's there. It's on. I go on the internet on Google. It's there. I was like, oh nah, bruh. Nah, cause you grow up around. You know him from childhood.
Yeah. 6, 7 years old. Kobe was on the screen.
Yeah. People, I remember in the backyard, with the little Fisher Price court, was like, man, about to do the Kobe Bryant dunk. It was the little between the legs, little 360 jump. We about to do the Kobe Bryant. Let me do that jump.
Uh-huh.
But you never are prepared for it.
Never.
And I would take this saying to heart. And it's you never really understand life until you realize that your heroes are mortal too.
Yeah. That's true.
And that was, I actually I came up with that.
Because we definitely thought he was immortal.
Nigga.
At least.
You feel the same way about parents and shit. You feel like that they're here forever. You're not parents, grandparents, or people you've been around so long. They they're invincible. They're not going nowhere.
Right.
Especially if they're like your age. You don't expect somebody that you grew up with or just hung around or know to just up and vanish. It's like, oh, they ain't gonna be here no more.
Right. Which I feel like a lot of it comes from people not understanding death in general to begin with, versus like, people dying that they're close to and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Like, we just noticed, like, I've noticed, like, people look at death as just like, it's somewhat of like a back burner thought.
Right. And because and I'm a super victim to that, because it's like you don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I to be honest, like, I think about it like consistently, because if you are going to get used to people dying, you might as well come to it as like an inevitability.
Right.
Like,
well, that part is true because we all have to die.
Yeah. Like, but it's definitely tough when you get to a point where you just they're not coming back.
Facts. And I know from my perspective, it's like when you grow up in the area where we grew up, it's like you're losing friends when you're kids.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to talk about, because nowadays we kind of, the culture, society kind of super glorifies death.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
You're somewhat desensitized to it.
I wouldn't even say desensitized, but you I understand people pay their respects and things like that, but you see other people using people's death to an advantage is what I'm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that. I see that a lot, and I don't like it, but
right,
people are gonna do it.
So I kind of feel like, first and foremost, death kind of hit me at an early age. Not me, but my experience with it was, like I was telling you earlier, my father had passed when I was like young, and at that age I didn't know what death was. But like I said, I remember being at the funeral, and of course, not my mother, but of course other people would give you the excuses. Oh, you're going on a vacation for a little while. You know what I'm saying? And I told you about that earlier as well.
Don't tell your kids that.
Yeah, I didn't like that, because when I got older, I would be like, oh, damn, he's not coming back. Like, now I feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's just dead. I can come to grips with that eventually as to why he's not here.
Yeah, but you tell them they're on vacation, and then you're just like, oh, they're spending a whole bunch of time like with the palm trees and stuff.
Yeah,
when they gonna show up.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely hits home, like having, because we had friends that you would just see every single day, and then next thing you know, it's something as small as like you're leaving the basketball court at the end of the day, maybe 7, 8 o'clock. You wake up in the morning and you find out that person got shot that night. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of things come into play for me, because it's like it quickly just strikes. I don't, let alone like how you said earlier, it's hard to prepare for it. But even if you had time to prepare for it, how would you? Like, considering you're so emotionally attached to like a person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know, bro. It's just, it's not really something that I've done specifically that
right.
that is like a one size fits all.
Yeah, right.
So I know what I've done. Like, even to this day, I still do it. And then people might call me a mama's boy for it or something like that, but with my mom in general, like, I tell my mom, like, I love you on a daily basis. I don't. Oh, I'll hug my mom. I'll be like, oh, mom, I love you. Come here, give me a hug, and all that stuff. Like even when she doesn't want me to,
Right.
I still do it because at the end of the day, like one of the biggest problems with death is that when people die, you feel as though that you didn't love them enough while they were here.
Right.
So I love my mom to the point where even though she's still here, she hates me for it sometimes.
Right.
So
But rather it be that way than the other way.
exactly, like she didn't die feeling unloved. Same way I do that with a lot of people. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat the fact that I love a person.
Right.
So when you get me, you get the best of me. There's no cut cards. So I'm going to treat you like family if you deserve to be treated like family. And if you do die, know that you are loved by somebody. If not me, then definitely by somebody else. Like I'm not gonna have you go to the grave feeling as though that maybe I didn't love you enough.
Right.
Because a lot of people they struggle with that. They think that I should have loved them more while they were here. Like you know how some family members they'll go forever without saying a word to each other,
Right.
or
Right.
they won't be in contact or something like that, and no phone conversations, no nothing.
Right.
And then once they die, you realize that shit. I should have said something to them.
Right. Because you understand it's way more bigger than just that. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah. So, and it's funny you would mention that because I see this a lot that happens as well. And it's like when the person dies, there's like a super outpouring of love and support that the person probably definitely could have used while they were still here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that could affect like life decisions or changes. Well, I guess in the sense of like I would say suicide, a person killing themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which for the most part they feel alone and unwanted, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, actually.
And when people go through that, it's like that love should have been shown beforehand.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I felt that way before, but like too. I
Right.
literally felt that way before.
Right.
I know how people feel when they go through stuff like that. They'll think to themselves, they're like, well, maybe they'll appreciate me more if I wasn't here.
Right.
And then that keeps playing consistently in their head.
Because that's subconsciously that's what you see
Yeah.
is, and I see it all the time. It's like take a music artist, and this is just it don't even have to be a specific artist. This could be a music artist in general. They have a certain career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they die, and their music sales quadruple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that happens. Like,
it happens all the time.
like Nipsey shit, like
Yeah.
catapulted.
Yeah.
Like
He
man,
sells
give the man his
quadruple.
flowers when he's here.
Yeah, like it's like, and it's consistent because throughout history, like with Biggie would sell albums. He dies, and Life After Death sells 10 million.
And he only got 2 albums.
Right, and the first one ain't sell nowhere near 10 million. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
The one after that didn't sell nowhere near 10. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that's what people like. I don't know. It's in a certain attraction to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But I wanna like talk to like people because we did say we was gonna talk about like as far as coping.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's like your coping mechanisms? Because honestly, I don't. I know everybody's different. I couldn't really explain how I cope with death, besides the fact that I could let you know that.
You ain't gonna hear from him for a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't. If you're close to me and you died, like you said earlier, I would do the state of denial thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost like human nature at this point.
Yeah.
Man, other than that, like it's just unbelievable. It's like your conscience just doesn't like, you know what I mean? Because earlier we were talking about the whole Valencia situation.
Yeah.
And it was like you becoming cool with somebody, especially situationals, because she's pregnant with a kid, and you just don't think like something like that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, I guess it's kind of like you spoil yourself because you expect you or a person to like live this. And I think that's what happened with Kobe as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing is like you expect life out of people.
Yeah, we expected Kobe to live till like he was 80 or something.
Yeah, like they wanted more. Like it's just like time. What we need right now, we need to understand it. Like time is a concept that is it's beyond us, regardless of how we look at it.
Right,
Like we can never get more of it. We only get what's given.
right. And nobody's obligated to have this amount of time, have that amount of time. I will say the Kobe death kind of gave me a stronger sense of urgency as far as like getting things done.
Yeah, I can say that because I know like once when I ended up hearing about that, I was like, man. At first, I was like, man, let me go ahead and do this run real quick, because you know around that time I was doing like my little workout and shit. I was doing my
Mm-hmm.
running.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, like at any point in time where I felt like I feel like stopping, it was like heard Kobe's voice, man. It was like, nah, you still got enough. You keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You just hear it, man. You just like, man, it's something about it, cause what he did while he was here, and you get to understand how dedicated he was to
Right,
being great.
right. Because it takes it, you gotta dedicate your whole life. You gotta put everything on pause, essentially.
Yeah,
Like family, hopefully they understand and they cool, which it seemed like his was. Just everything has to be focused towards what you're trying to be great at.
yeah, and you see, like even after he retired, he still had that mindset to be great,
Facts.
and then he's winning awards for stuff outside of basketball.
Which was amazing. Like
Yeah,
for a short film, he won a what was it, an Oscar?
yeah, Oscar, Grammy, like one of the two. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was. I know it was one of them
but
awards
but
that.
that's fire though. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And man, it's like it's so hard to like talk about because it's like different situations. It warrants like different emotions,
yeah,
you know. And I can give you an example, right? So in 2007, I was telling you earlier when my aunt died,
mm-hmm,
that was like an outpouring of emotion for me
yeah,
because that was like a strong family member,
mm-hmm,
and it happened essentially out of nowhere. So like you don't get the time to prepare, and then when you are given a time frame, it's a small one.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it was just to the degree of like, yo, how could this happen? You see it happen all the time, but you don't think it's gonna happen to you.
yeah. Like just stop thinking like that. Like I know it's difficult because as
Yeah,
humans, we tend to think like that.
right,
But once you get past the idea that you need to expect a certain amount of like you just expect a certain amount of time with somebody, like that doesn't matter.
right,
Like just because you think you're owed this type of time does not mean that that's what you're going to get.
right. And it's like that. That's what that really, it tells me. Versus the second part, right, is me having like a close friend that's in the streets.
Yeah.
So when I say the emotions different warrantly, I've had friends get killed. I still cry, but deep down inside me, I know that's what happens
Yeah.
when you're living that life.
Yeah. Because like when it comes to deaths like that, it it's just like it's just another day. But when it seems like they weren't trying to put themselves in harm's way, and then they're taken
Yeah,
out.
that's a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that
now if you're just walking down the street, minding your business, and you're just unfortunately maybe they're trying to rob you or something, and for some reason if you don't have nothing on you, the result is to just kill you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
yeah. That hits harder because this is someone who was trying to like at least take themselves away from harm in general. Like they didn't want anything bad to happen to them. Not to say that people in the streets want something bad to happen to them, but that's what you're looking for.
But they kind of
It comes with the territory.
yeah, and especially around here is like what I can say about dudes is that man, it's almost like they embrace it.
Unfortunately.
I'll tell you a story, and it's a quick story. It's a now when I used to do evictions, started in 2010, ended in 2013. We used to be at the BP all the time,
Okay.
24/7, and this is the vaunted VP that everybody makes jokes of. I'd rather run out of gas than stop at the BP.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So now we used to like sell weed, nickel and dime, and anything we would take from the evictions, we would sell. Be at the BP. We had the BP like the one stop shop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a dude up there. His name was Tay, and if I'm not mistaken, Tay wasn't from here, but because he had been around here so long, he was basically, you know, around here. Everybody was
Yeah.
cool with him. So he used to sell drugs like at night at the BP, overnight.
Oh, that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, this BP people, it would be 24/7. So niggas will pull up to buy weed 2 o'clock in the morning at the BP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like somebody will always want to be on deck because there was a lot of money to be made.
Mm-hmm.
So I never forget, like one day we had got off from eviction and he was up there early. And so my mans and them, who really was pushing the weed heavy and shit, he was like, yo, what you doing, man? You ain't supposed to be here a couple hours, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know, I just wanted to holler at y'all because I'm down bad, so I wanted to come up here a little early, you know, get my stuff off if y'all don't mind. So my man, you know, my man's super cool, and she's like, all right, you know, good. We could just sell this jewelry that we, you know what I'm saying? So I was talking to Cuz, and I was like, damn, bro, you say you down bad, you all right? And he was like, yeah, I just gotta make this extra little bit of money. Ain't nothing too severe, whatever, blah blah blah. And I was like, damn, bro, you gotta fuck around, you know, get a job or something, cause being up here overnight ain't really nothing you wanna do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, Big Abe. I mean, at the end of the day, you know how niggas like us is. Now, that night he got killed. Somebody tried to rob the BP. He tried to lock the door, and while he was locking the door, he locked the door so they couldn't get in. But they shot through the glass and shot him in the neck one time, or whatever. So he ended up bleeding out and dying. So the last thing he said to me was, "You know how niggas like us. You know what happens to niggas like us."
That's yeah. I swear, like it seems like they manifest the shit.
Yeah, it's like almost prophetic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so, it's like, although that hurt me, it hurt, and but at the same time, you just kind of as long he knew, so I feel a little better about it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not, even though that's the wrong mindset to have, it's like he knew,
Yeah.
so that's a little more better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Like stuff like that. It's just like you're sort of like desensitized to that because
Right.
they know what they're getting themselves into.
Right. Like you're making and a lot of people you always hear say like, oh, they don't know what they doing and they don't this and that. I can 100% assure you, if a nigga selling drugs or doing any type of thing that he robbing somebody in the streets, anything, he's already made the conscious decision that he either might die or go to jail. He's already came to the conclusion that he has to do what he has to do, no matter what the outcome is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Cause I done heard niggas say before, well, if I ain't got no bread, I ain't got no life anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whether it's wrong or right, that's another argument. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like when it comes to decision making, I can vouch firsthand. Like that's what people mindset is, at least in this area. Can't speak on nobody else, but in this area.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that happen.
Right.
But I have a story somewhat on the opposite end of the spectrum
Okay.
with somewhat the same premise.
Story away.
Mm-hmm. And it was my stepfather back in 2010. That January, we were having a conversation about New Year's. And I told him why I really didn't care about New Year's at all.
Okay. Which was why?
The reason why was because it was like, seemed as though people were just celebrating for little to no reason. It's like, what are we really doing? People make New Year's resolutions, don't follow them at all, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They can change themselves as whenever they feel like it. They just want to make New Year's resolutions, all that other stuff.
Okay.
People just want a reason to party.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't have anything to celebrate really. It's like not that important to me. And he told me it's like, you see, like it's definitely important because, well, he's like it's important to me because at least I got another year. And he died that January.
Right.
And he died from blood infection.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Southern Maryland and shit. He died because of the blood infection. And then, I mean, that sticks
Right.
because, like you said, it's somewhat prophetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he died. Not only did he die, like, after he said that, he died the anniversary of him and my mom's marriage.
Oh wow.
So that hit harder because
Right.
he lived long enough to get another year in general and another year with her.
Right.
So that was a very tough thing for me to swallow. Like
Right.
I hard pill to swallow. I tried, but around that time, it's just like that was like one of the only people I could really talk to.
Right.
But he's somewhat like he knew, like it was coming eventually. You know, I after a while I kind of I was okay with it
Right.
because you have to really just sit down and reflect. It was like, was he better off here and possibly in pain, or was he better off somewhere else and possibly free from it?
Right. I guess that's where ideologies come into play, and you have to think like you have to get down to what do you think happens when people die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I have a theory about that, but that's for another time though.
okay, that, but that's real. That's real like touching though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like stuff like that. That's like situations where I would be like over emotional. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it always comes off like how because we're like black men, and first and foremost, I feel like from society standards, we're not allowed to be emotional anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know, like, I mean, you already know. I'll let you know up front, like, I can get emotional.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that nobody can tell me as to though, like, I'll have one of my bros get killed, and I'm not gonna show emotion about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, why hold it in? It's just pointless.
Right.
Because all it's gonna do is just breed animosity, and then with us, we already considered as the fucking bad guy anyway. Why create more?
Right. Which is, again, obviously not a coincidence.
No, not.
But
Not at all.
again, another story for another.
Yeah, we got too many stories nowadays.
But yeah, it's like when it comes to family, like that it's a hard pill to swallow because like I was saying about my dad and then like my aunt who died when I was in 12th grade and just remembering luckily you have like the good memories
Hmm.
and then just remembering like little stuff like like she knew kind of like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying because I remember she would tell me like yeah I'm not gonna be able to see you graduate you know what I'm saying and I'm like I graduate in 3 months you be here you know what I'm saying
Yeah, and you're oblivious.
yeah you're really because you don't want to accept that reality
Mm.
especially you're a teenager. I'm 18 at the I'm 17. It's not even my birthday's in March. I'm not even 18. I'm 17 at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like you don't have to accept reality.
Yeah, bro. Like you run around with the idea that this person is a superhero. They can't be beaten by anything.
Right. Right. And then it's like, you know, you just come over one day and then a person goes from being like, this is how I knew it was like real. Like what this is real. My aunt was very young looking.
Hmm.
So she's only a few years younger than my mother. I think about 3 or 4 or something. But they would look like they were in their like 20s.
Hmm.
And one day I went over there and it's like out of nowhere, she's looking like she's like 70.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely a tough one right there.
And that's when I knew like, okay, something's wrong.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like something's wrong. Like that's when reality started to like slowly just like punch a hole in your facade. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
Like in your dream, and just like, yo, this is real. You know
Yeah,
what I
bro.
mean?
Take down the facade, bro.
Yeah, and yeah, she had died like that February, and man, when I tell you, I was boohooing. I even when I tell the story, I often feel myself still tearing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, which isn't a bad thing. It's not that. It's not It's not a bad thing to feel emotion, especially as black men. We carry so much and
Yeah,
expect it to just accept it. Like why? Like we have emotion. We are people. We're human. I mean, granted, we are at the end of the day we are something better than that, but
right.
that's another story for another day.
Again,
But yeah, we can't just harbor that,
right.
like, because that's the last thing we really want. Because I remember when I had when my cousin died. Like my cousin died when I was in middle school,
Uh huh.
and like that whole time during the funeral, like I didn't cry not once, not a single tear drop. I knew that I needed to, but I couldn't.
Mhm.
Then I'm in the car. My stepfather, like he's still alive around this time. Like
Uh huh.
my stepfather in the car, like my mother in the car, my sister's like literally in tears, laying on my thigh, has her head on my thigh, just crying. And I look outside at the window. I see my cousin Wayne, as I see him walk past, tears in his eyes, and I was like, all right, it might be okay for me now,
Right.
because you see somebody that you feel is like really really strong,
And you see
and
them not being strong.
yeah, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, like that gives me like the leeway to to move forward with my emotions. Like
Right.
now I can be sad, but really we need to get to the point where it's like it doesn't matter if you don't see anybody else sad or anything like that. It's okay to be that.
Right. Yeah. It's nothing like it's nothing wrong with being sensitive.
Yeah,
Because
like,
that's what society is trying to desensitize, and a lot of people are desensitized until it happens to them,
yeah,
and then it's just, it brings you back to reality. I'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, over time, I don't. In the moment, I'm not sure if it's any way to cope with anything like
Mm.
that. You know what I'm saying? I,
Yeah.
I can't sit in front of this microphone and be like, yo, if you lost your parent, this is how to, because it's like granted, I lost one of my parents at a young age, so I wasn't fully in
Mm.
tune. But you can't lose a parent and then you just sit up there and tell somebody how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everyone deals with everything differently. Like
Right.
even our chemistry is different inside of us. Like we're not everyone is the same.
Yeah.
Like that's why they have different blood types and shit. We're
Right.
different.
Yeah. So it's like I don't how you when people when we be on Facebook and stuff and people say that they lost loved ones and everybody be on the status saying the same old
Yeah, praying for you and all this shit. My
sending
condolences.
positive vibes your way. And I'm guilty of that sometimes, but I also go talk to people directly, or at least try to.
Yeah. Not unless it's somebody that you really like you don't know and you think it, like maybe they probably won't even.
Right. They won't even want to hear from you anyway. Like you just,
Yeah.
um, Anthony Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
When I was talking about the other podcast about photography and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So shout out to Ant. He recently lost his father. I think right after Christmas, a day after Christmas, or something. I'm not specific on the date, but I know it's kind of before New Year's.
Yeah, I remember seeing him post about that. I believe.
Right, but he posted about it recently. He didn't tell everybody
Mm-hmm.
when it happened.
Yeah.
He just told a select few.
Okay.
And so I found out from Mo
Oh.
because he didn't tell me either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when Mo told me, I got off the phone with Mo. I kind of sat there for a few minutes, and I was like, damn, if I was to talk to Ant, what would I tell him? And so how the universe works is we were I forgot what we was doing, but we had to talk to each other.
Okay.
So I had brought up, I'm like, damn, bro, Mo told me about your father a couple of days ago, and I didn't want to say like no shit that everybody, I'm sure he done heard 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like my bro.
Yeah.
Like, I want to tell him some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to tell him some shit where he know, like, yo, this nigga really care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't want to seem like you just another one of those like copy and paste niggas.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, I heard about your dad. I'm real sorry. And then I paused, and then I was trying to think of something to like help him cope. But then I thought about it, and I was like, it's his dad. He's not gonna be able to cope with this. So, without me even thinking, I just blurted out to him. I was like, no matter what anybody says, do what you got to do to feel how you want to feel. And he was like, yo, that's real shit. I appreciate that. And that was just, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like something else told me, like made me say that.
Yeah, my man getting the voice of the ancestors.
I mean, I don't know. But whatever, I was trying to think of just something to say. And without even thinking, that just came out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes the right things are said, like when you least suspect it.
Yeah. And so that was like that situation. And then of course, recently, shout out to Sean. Sean lost his father recently too. So, it's a tough time
for a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people going through this shit. It's like you expect them to be here, but it's just like, come on, bro.
It's the sad, unfortunate reality of life. So you really gotta cherish your parents.
Yeah.
And appreciate them. And I know I'm guilty of it too as well. You know what I'm saying? You get into little petty arguments and, you just go some time without talking, or it's a lot of little things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, we're not gonna condone the the really horrible parents, the ones that ain't
Yeah,
as
we're
the
talking about the parents where it's just like maybe just like a lack of communication because one of y'all just bad at communicating or something.
yeah. But
But
if it's
if they're
like
abusing you and
yeah,
yeah, no,
they don't deserve your sympathy.
right, yeah. So that's and I guess that's case by case.
Yeah, it's a case by case basis.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's case by case, y'all. You know what I'm saying? But
Like we said before, one size does not fit all.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know. Like family, and then friends, family. I mean, shit, friends. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it don't matter, cause I remember when I really didn't care too much. No, I didn't. Like, I'm not gonna say didn't care too much. Like when I wasn't really like big on like the concept of death.
what you mean?
Like, it was in like it was the fifth grade, I think. Yeah, it was the fifth grade. Like we used to all it used to be like a group of us. We all play together. It'd be me, Black Tay, and Delonte Williams. Shout out Black Tay. Uh, like Dominique, uh, and it was like two other because it was like him and his brother. I forgot what his name was, but then we had a friend named Darius
Mm-hmm.
who's always hang out, play basketball, stuff like that. But I remember it was like one of those like just random day. Somebody told me that he died. Fifth grade.
Right.
He died because he got hit by a car.
Right.
Those are the unexpected deaths. You didn't
Yeah.
know, but
Right.
back then it was just like I didn't really grasp it because the concept of death was like taboo to me. It's like I didn't really understand it.
And because you were young and a kid, they try to shield you from it,
Yeah,
which is probably a big reason why you didn't. Because like I said, when my dad died, I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like that's why when you was telling the story about earlier, that's why I was like, yo, it's so dope that kids are more advanced now, so
hmm
you can't really pull wool over their eyes.
yeah,
Because I would rather you be real with kids and give them a real fighting chance against things versus to like fool them. And
hmm
now once they discover one thing, they're gonna wonder what else you've been lying about. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Instead of just keeping it real and that way giving them a foundation to stand on as to like how life works. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And it's 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 never it's never easy dealing with that. I can tell you that.
It is not. I mean, I've come to like terms with the idea that eventually my mom's gonna die.
Right.
Like I've come to terms with that. Like if I can sit there, if I can watch my grandfather like pretty much deteriorate from the strong sob that he was to literally nothing,
Right.
and that means like nigga, everybody's up for grabs.
Right.
So like yeah, because when my grandfather died, like it tore me the fuck up, bro. It's 2017, like one of the worst years of my life.
Okay.
Like this is when I told you, like man, I contemplated suicide like 50 plus times in like a 3 month period,
Right.
and like I watched him like I'll go in the like the doctor's office like randomly, like cause with our family like we was real close together. Well, we still are. We still close, real close together.
Okay.
And I remember like going to the hospital, like my uncles be up there, my aunts be up there. Uh, we just up there having a good time. Like he's cool.
Right.
Like he's talking, he's like joking around, like, eating regular food and stuff like that. Then like maybe a month later, he like he's struggling to walk, stuff like that. They got to put him in rehab, and like he's not eating at all. Everything is like falling apart. And the worst thing was, I wasn't even there to see it. I couldn't be there.
Right.
So the only person who could really be there was my grandmother and the older, like the kids.
Right.
Those are the only people who really could be there. I tell you this, it pretty much tore me up when
Yeah.
I found like when I kind of like had to come to terms with it because I saw him like the night he died.
Uh-huh.
I saw him. Like we were in the like we were all in the at my grandmother's house. He was in the living room because my grandmother brought him home.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, she brought him home. Like he had a bed set up in the corner and all that stuff. Everything was all cleaned up, and she had his bed in the corner. She like cause she told me this afterwards. She was like, if my husband is gonna die, he's gonna die at home and not in this damn hospital.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people think like that.
Yeah,
I'm not against that, by the way.
neither am I.
Yeah.
But he was there. Like we were all around him. I got a chance to see him. Like, but he didn't. Like, he was so out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to like, and I had to come to terms like this, like whatever it was that he had. He, oh my God, like it fucking won.
Yeah.
Like, and you think he's invincible. Like
Right.
when you got to come to terms when the fact that a person is no longer invincible to you.
Right.
It's horrible because
It's like
you,
like saying like your favorite superhero lose.
yeah, like people like the world don't revolve around plot armor.
Right.
Like you don't have that. Like you can't be Goku. Like Goku
Right.
is not going. Like
Right.
he's not going to be the one say like your your parent or your friend or just somebody around you. They're not going to beat the odds all the time.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things that we need to like break away from. Like we are all susceptible to something like this.
That's facts.
And that night when he died, dude, it was a frustrating moment for me. Like, I heard it over the phone. Like somebody called. Well, actually, no. Somebody called my sister, and my sister ended up like she tearing up and stuff like that. It's like, oh, Pop just died, and I was like, fuck. Like that's like
Right.
that's what I had. That's what I said in my head. I couldn't believe it. And then like my cousin Ronald stopped by, and he take me down my grandmother's house, and everyone down there is just like it's somewhat of a celebratory experience. Like and I get there and it's like I feel the energy, and it's like, you know what, I'm okay with that
Right.
because at least we got a chance to see them and be around them
Right.
for that
Right.
time period, and we're so okay with it that it's just like it seems abnormal.
Right.
And like even with my cousin being as tough as he is, it's like, man, I couldn't be around him, well, be around everybody, and they were all happy and all that stuff. Like he went outside and like nobody know and shit. He tearing up and shit. Like he couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just
'Cause-
you gotta just step off.
Yeah, he didn't get like a whole bunch of time with him like we did really. So it's like,
Yeah, but sometimes you never know. Like it could be one experience that just
yeah,
like damn, I remember such and such did that.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? That meant a lot to me. That's just wow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
It like death comes for us all. They tell us that, but it's just like we gotta come to terms with the fact that it does, and it's a scary feeling. But like, it's a point in time where I thought about what was gonna happen when I die. I thought about it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and act like I don't.
What you mean? Like what happens when you die, or you
No,
mean,
no,
like,
no. I'm talking about like
the people still here.
Yeah, the people still here. How are they gonna react to it?
Okay.
Because like I looked at like my nephews and stuff. Like they've already been through enough as it is.
Right.
Like I can only imagine how they feel if I died. Like I'm always around them, so it's just like,
It would be like a big difference if you
yeah,
wasn't. Yeah.
because they look at me and I'm somewhat like a superhero to them.
Right.
Cause they look at me, they're like, oh my god, like he's like the strongest person in the world. Nobody can beat him.
Right.
But if I was to die, they'd just like how'd this happen?
Right.
And then and the cycle continues because like I believed that the people around me were invincible. They were too strong to die,
Right.
but they're just as fragile as anybody else.
Right. And that,
Fragility is something that we must understand. That like we got to understand that we are like almost like glass.
right.
Like like you drop us too hard, we shatter, and there's nothing more you can do.
Right.
Like you can't put us back together. I mean, you can try, you can tape us back up, but we're not the same.
Right.
Like you can't bring somebody back to life.
Yeah. Even though
Well,
they have been trying.
I ain't gonna lie to you. And there's probably possibilities of where you can do it, but that's another thing for another day, another conversation.
Okay.
Hey, but I'm telling you, it's tough. It's tough on everybody.
Facts.
But with me, I've started talking like with my inner self and shit, like during meditation and shit. I've had conversations with people who are actually dead.
Okay.
Yeah, like during meditation, I had conversations with people who are dead, and like they're telling me things that I'm not like I wouldn't even know if. And then I talked to somebody else. They're like, "Oh, yeah. How did you know that? Only he knew that."
Right.
Like I remember, like I went into meditation and shit. I was talking to my stepfather and shit, and then he told me he was upset with my mom because she got rid of his jersey, and then my mom talked to me and she was like, "Oh, see, that's where he's wrong. I did not get rid of his jersey. It's actually in the closet." And then she was okay with that because the thing is you get it. I got a chance to have a conversation with somebody that I believed was gone, but the
Right.
thing is, like, I jumped into meditation so heavy is that like they don't necessarily die. Like a piece of them is still here.
Right.
That's what my coping mechanism has been for a while. Like I can have a conversation with anybody. Like
Right.
that energy that they convey, that energy that they give to you when they're here. Like even they don't even have to be in your presence. Like you can
Right.
gain energy through people from a television show or something like that. You know who they are somewhat
Right.
based on what they're giving you, the energy they're giving you.
Right.
Then like you can manifest that energy within you so that you can have a full conversation with people who aren't even here. Like
Like I draw like a lot of most of my inspiration from people that we've lost along the way.
mhm.
Like when we were kids and niggas getting killed. Up until like I said, when we used to be at the BP all the time and people die. Just for me, it was the people that was getting killed at such a young age. And I felt like even though we come to grips now that nobody is, you can't expect a certain time period.
Mhm.
But you got to understand during these times, we wasn't thinking like that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So you now, because you're where you are, of course everybody gonna be like, oh, you'd be lucky to see 21. And this is not me, but just the people that's like super in the trenches or whatever.
Mhm.
Be lucky to see 21, blah blah blah. And then you're seeing like niggas get killed at 15,
Yeah.
16, 17.
Not even hit double digits yet.
Yeah, sometimes that, yeah. So it's like my motivation, it always comes from like them
Mhm.
because And it just all comes full circle to what we were talking about on the other podcast, where it's just like me not feeling alive inside versus having to go through one thing to get to another thing to feel this way.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything comes full circle because it's like I'm 31 now. I was 16 when he got killed, and he was 16. And motivation would be like, damn, I wonder what shit would be like if he was still here, like 15 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so much that's different now. You know, like, or Forest Creek ain't Forest Creek no more, or the mall look different, or niggas is doing photography now, niggas own businesses now.
Yeah.
Stuff that you wasn't even thinking nothing about at that time.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into sometimes people will think like if they were alive, would they be proud of me? Stuff like that. Like especially when it's somebody that you really wanted to impress.
Right.
Like
right.
a parent or something. They're like, would they be proud of me? Would they be proud of me? I'll tell you this right now. Personally, even if they aren't proud of you, I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job. Keep going.
That's facts. Are you talking to me or?
Nigga, I'm talking to everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it can mean specifically like to you, even in general. Like I tell you, like I'm proud of you anyway, regardless.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Nigga, I'm still.
I'm proud of you too.
Hey, why do you gotta be singled out? I can't be.
Hey, sometimes you need the love, man. You know what I'm saying?
Nigga, I show you love all the time, bro.
You do, but like, it's a limit on love or something.
Nigga, it's not a limit. It's just like I can't.
Unconditional. It's supposed to be unconditional.
It
man.
is unconditional.
All right, man. All right.
Oh, there's.
Yeah, I see we can't
Talk
get.
to Teddy done showed up.
I see we can't get to a full. Well, we're almost at that time anyway. But we have about another 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, we definitely gonna run through that in a short period of time anyway. But it's just like I tell you, bro. Hey, Ave, I am proud of you. But this time, I appreciate what you said. This time, I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. I just, that's cool though.
Man, it gotta be singled out. It gotta be important that.
It's not important. I just like I like the love that sounds, but specific. That's all. But anyways, yeah. So that's like the coping mechanisms would be like that. You know what I'm saying? So. I mean, that's just it. Like, at one time, I'll say. What do you think about? Do you agree with that? Time?
Yeah.
Like, it might not make you feel any better, but you'll learn to live with it better over time.
Yeah. I mean, it worked for me. Some people, they take it takes them a lot longer. But, I mean, if you're trying to do better, then, of course, it'll come faster. But if you're just gonna dwell on it, then that's when it's probably just never gonna get better.
It'd be more negative than positive.
Yeah, like don't dwell.
No.
Chances are they would not have wanted you to dwell.
Of course not.
But
get back to being you, the best way that you possibly can.
Yeah.
Keep yourself busy.
Take the time you need.
Yeah.
Do
what you got to do.
Yeah. You don't have to do. You don't have to do a million things in order to get better. Like, it only takes a few seconds.
Facts. One thing I'll say for you not to do though is don't listen to other people telling you, well, you need take a day or two and then get back to, you know what I'm saying? Like don't listen to those type of people.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you this. When I was working for Target, right after my grandfather died, I went to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, like that day, I went back to work right after. Like, that night he died, I went to work.
Okay.
And, nigga, I could not even stomach a full day. And I almost cried like 6 times while doing my job. I was like, I even went out to the back. And when I went to the back, in the back of Target, they got those little trailers and stuff like that back there.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I went back there. Nigga, I bawling my damn eyes out and shit. And then I punched the trailer.
Right.
That's solid metal.
Right.
I punched it, and I dislocated my knuckle.
Okay.
It reset itself after a few months. But dude, I recommend, like, if you are emotionally attached to somebody like that, like, take some time off,
Definitely.
cause like that job or whatever you need to get to is secondary compared to what you need to do for you. You are more important than whatever is like your form of like income or whatever like that. You are more important than that.
Right.
So do not put like finances or something like that over yourself because it will not end well. Because when I ended up taking a couple days off, well, when I ended up trying to take days off, found out like I forgot what the hell they call that type of time off. Is it like I don't know if it's personal time off or
Yeah, personal
like
time.
death time off or some shit like that. They only gave me 2 days.
Oh yeah, that's not about right.
2 days to cope with the death of somebody who had lived for like until I was 27. Dude, you understand? Like you don't necessarily understand the concept. Like my grandfather at the age of well, when I was at the age of 10,
Right.
he said that I just want him to live. I just want to live long enough to see him like graduate.
Okay.
Like he was given another 9 years.
That's dope.
Matter of fact, not even 9 years. It was actually a little bit longer than that because I ain't graduated 18. I graduated 17.
Right.
So he was given another 10. So he asked, he received, and in abundance. Like he just wanted to live to see me graduate, or just to see me get older. That's how close I was to him.
Right.
I spent birthdays. My 18th birthday, I spent with my grandparents. So you see how deep the connection was.
Right.
Like, I didn't want to spend it partying. I didn't spend it drinking. I didn't drink. I was never a drinker or a smoker. I loved my grandparents, and then he dies, and I'm given 2 days off to cope with the death of someone who I was close with for so long. 2 days is all they gave me. So I tell you this again: you are more important than that job or wherever in the world it is that is keeping you from getting back to where you need to get to.
Facts. Because if something was to happen to you, they're not gonna do nothing but replace you anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah, yeah. I know it's a tough decision, but we gotta make that decision. And you gotta look out for yourself first. Like overall, do what you gotta do, and that's like the bottom line.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end on that note.
Yeah.
Um,
This has been the Breaking the Narrative podcast. I'm Tony,
I'm Teddy.
and we out of here.